and let Kai do her thing since she's out there.
Okay. All right. So are you recording yet?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So peace and blessings, brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. My name is Kylawan Ahmad, and I have the honor of presenting a powerful brother. Dennis Mott Jr. hails from sunny California by way of Chicago. Dennis was trained to be a leader by his mother and father from elementary school through high school in academics and sports. His training continued into Marine Corps combat. Dennis had a career in the car business. He climbed up the corporate ladder from salesman to finance manager. Currently, Dennis is an entrepreneur. He is a world traveler. He has a travel business where he organizes trips and tours in the US and abroad. He's a skilled photographer, which shows in the many pictures he takes of his family and friends and adventures at home and during travel. Dennis also encourages Black people to come together to buy from Black-owned businesses by marketing great products from the businesses. Dennis is a loving son, big brother, and father of his 3 beautiful daughters and grandchildren. Dennis loves Black people and is unapologetically Black. He loves sharing information that uplifts Black people on cultural and economic levels. Brothers and sisters, I present to you Dennis Mott Jr.
All right, all right. Thank you very much, Kai. I really appreciate it. You know, I got all these Black magnificent women on the line, so I just want to thank you guys for joining. I was going to throw a picture up there of some other people in history, but I say, hey, you know, we got Black magnificent women in our culture that I took some pictures of, and I was like, hey, was that event? And I threw some of those up there, people that I know. So anyway, thank you all for joining today, and we got a lot out of that. I know some of you joined in later on, and I think it was great to hear that. So I just want to get talking about, you know, what did you get out of this? Anybody want to elaborate on what they thought or what they got out of what they just saw? Anybody want to unmute themselves? I'll wait.
Nadra.
Hey, Niger, let them know where you call in from.
Sunny, beautiful California.
All right, all right.
We got the power.
That's right.
So we just need to share it. We just need to rise. We just need to shine. We've all got something very, very special to share with the world. And thank you for bringing some of these things forward, because they are little known facts for most, and can be taken so much further. I mean, you can look around you if you begin even doing the same thing that Sheikah did with his family. If you just begin asking questions of your family, you will find all kinds of information you had no idea existed, and you can use that information to empower yourself as well as your children or your nieces, nephews, cousins, friends, everybody. And yeah, I think it takes a man and a woman, or it takes both of us to be able to grow the world. Thank you. Thank you always for doing what you do.
All right. Thank you.
And Kai did a really, really great job of that introduction of you too. Thanks, Kai.
All right. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You know, I like what you just talked about. You know, he said back in the day, we used to look out for one another. We looked out for another, poor, rich, whatever the case may be. We all looked out for each other in our communities. And I love that. And when we talk about, you know, we hear people today, they talk, he said his mother was talking about talk Black, sleep white. You know, you wonder what, it doesn't make sense. But this is what we see, which is going on today. So, you know, I just wanted to bring that up, and how his grandfather, whatever, his family member was raped by somebody of the other race, and he just despised them, you know, hated them pretty much. So, you know, that's what goes on in our family. And as you said, we have to ask the questions, you know, get to our ancestors and our elders in our families to ask the questions about what was going on in our history, in our families. And like he said, you know, sometimes we're going to touch on a subject or two that we don't want to know about, or the ancestors or our elders don't want us to know about, but we need to know this so we can pass it on. And then, you know, we can get a true sense of what really happened in our families, so we can pass it on from generation to generation to come. All right, so I'm gonna go out there. I think LaShawn. LaShawn, you have anything else to say there?
Hi, this is LaShawn in Chicago. Can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So, just to piggyback on what you said, I understand why there's secrets in our family, and because taking on the secrets means we're taking on the shame. But we shouldn't be taking on the shame. The shame should be put on the person that did it upon us in the first place. Plus, you can't know where you're going if you don't know where you come from or where you've been, and that's just so true. I remember just constantly asking all the time of my father about a brother that I thought I had, and come to find out the story was completely different. And that's only because I kept, wondering, because I wanted to know. And then eventually I said something to him like, well, what if I was to meet someone and fall in love with them and come to find out that's my brother? And then all of a sudden my dad sort of thought about it and it was like, okay, let me tell her the truth. And so he did. But then I also saw other stories that my father would sort of twist and turn, and I get it now. It is not something that you would go around publicizing, but like I said, it's not our shame, it's the shame of the person that put it upon us. Thank you, Kai, for the introduction. It was, as I said, like Niger said, it was a very good introduction. And then the second thing is thank you, as always, Dennis, for sharing this education with us. While just, I guess I felt somewhat like the gentleman of, all of this is new. Why do I need to know this? This is something I got to take on and figure out. But when I think of 1926 and 27, as someone that was not educated, and the amount of things that they put upon us, I'm amazed, just amazed. So thank you so much. Back to you, Dennis.
Oh, you're welcome, and thank you. When you talk about that, about the genealogy, I'll call it, because my cousin Tonetta called me up and my cousin Tanya, and we were just looking. They called me and say, "Who is KT in the family?" And I'm like, "Why are you asking about KT?" But it's kind of crazy. But she had her blood taken. She did Ancestry.com, and it was going back to cousins and everything else. And KT happens to be someone in my family that had a kid with somebody else in the family. So, but they were three, cousins, third generation, but you would know by what's going on. So it's amazing how if we don't talk about it, we don't know who we're going to be. And when I was in Chicago going to school, I was about to talk to a young lady that went to a different school than I went to. And we kind of flirted, but we didn't go all the way. But we ended up going to a funeral. And I remember my mother and my aunt telling me, say, "Oh, I see you met your cousin." And we looked at each other like, what? So you don't know who is related because they did a whole bunch of things to us back in the day. They used to make us, in slavery, they just wanted to mate and put a product out there. And sometimes they put a paper bag and, you were having things, intercourse with people in your family, the mother. It's sad to say, but it is what really happened. So if we do our ancestry and we know where we come from, sometimes it may shock you. My old cousins always say, "You better find out who that is. They may be your cousin. Watch who you're talking to." And I was like, "What?" But now as I've gotten older, I kind of understand it and I see it, and it's amazing. So that's. Thank you very much, LaShawn. And when we look back in history, let's look at the lady they call Deaconess, the oldest bones in history, 3.2 million years old. We've been here a long time. And as I say, they found the bones that were standing up. It wasn't linked over like an ape or a prehistoric man. For 3.2 million years, a Black woman, the first, as far as back as they go, who knows how far it can go back, but 3.2 million years, and they call her Deaconess, meaning you are beautiful. You are beautiful, because Black women are the most beautiful people on the planet, to me, in my observation. But what I'm getting at is that, they tried to change the narrative and brought in their archaeologists and called it Lucy, because they listened to a song, Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, which is actually about LSD, which is a drug hallucination of what they were doing. So, it's amazing how they can change the narrative of all of our history. That's why it's up to us to go out and find out what we are, who we are, and be proud of who we are. And that's what we do. I love that, Deaconess, meaning you are beautiful. And then, like you said, someone said, "Hey, go into a mirror, look at that mirror, and don't leave it until you like what you see," because that's who we are. We are the the creators of everything, the universe. And as he went down his stories, you found out more. But I just want to stop and talk about that for you for a second. So anybody else want to speak up on what they got out of the whole situation here? You just unmute yourself or raise your hand. Okay, don't be shy.
Hey, this is Kai.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'll be brief, and then Nadra could go. So I do want to thank LaShawn and Nadra for acknowledging me the way I did the introduction. But I do have to give Nadra some credit, because Nadra, I am aware that you did help Dennis with some of the wording. So I know that I got a lot of that from you. So I did want to acknowledge that. So thank you for putting that out there. So going with the things that we talked about, one of the things that I really find interesting is that there were a lot of things that were happening in the 1920s. Whereas we think because we have technology that we're advanced, but as a people, on many levels, we don't have that same drive that we had back then. They didn't have technology, but they were doing all of these great things and were really motivated. And I'm just hoping that that these forums give us some inspiration, to push forward and to teach our children that, yes, you guys do have greatness in you. One of the things that I really found interesting was Makare Hatshepsut. I thought that was very interesting that, that she was a king, because, and she took charge. It was like, no, you don't have to appoint me. I got this. I am the king. No, I'm not the queen. I'm the king, and I have the power. So I think that was awesome. The other thing that I found very interesting is the way they uphold us. So as an African people, we uphold our women, African women. It's not our story to say that women are below us and things like that. Whereas, other cultures is not the woman that's, at the head. But even in our own families, I mean, our Black women, our grandmothers, aunts, mothers are strong women. I know that I come from some great women, and, and pretty much everyone that I know, for the most part, mama had talking about like grandmothers and aunties, like they had power, whether it was spiritual power or just different things. They really were the head in a lot of ways. They held things together. Even if they did have a strong king, a lot of times those sisters are the ones that really help, to hold things together. But what I found particularly interesting is the pharaoh and his queen, the statue, where they were, where their eyes were on the same level, and they were seeing eye to eye. Because as a people, I'm hoping that we start doing that more. And I have been seeing more and more Black couples, get married, even younger Black people get married at a young age, and that's awesome. Because it is important that we build together, that it's not about, being separated, because that is one of the stories that we got from slavery, where, a lot of times we feel like we don't need each other, and we do. So I just thought that was beautiful to talk about, like Black love and seeing eye to eye. Back to you.
Oh yes, I agree with you. That balance that they have out there with Hatshepsut is amazing. And how she took charge of everything. Everything, even from that on down, he said, she don't wait to be anointed or appointed. You go take what you want. And I love that, because you always call it passiveness causes others to pass us by. But no, she went out there, hey, I'm running this show anyway. I got this, and that's what, I mean, if you look at when we're out here in corporate America or any other thing, we are actually running the show, but we don't think we're running the show. We could do it, when sometimes we have that chain on our mind, which we have to unchain our mind because we run the show anyway. Just nobody, you don't have to wait for somebody to anoint you, appoint you. You're already doing it. But psychologically, you know, like you said, we're still on the plantation, so we don't believe that we're doing it. But you have that strength, that power to do it yourself. And that's amazing with her. And I also like to talk about the self-taught of Drusilla Dungy Houston. That was amazing, amazing. She did everything self-taught, like you said, back in the 1920s, doing all that stuff back there that she did. Oh my goodness, that just inspired me alone. And we said that, you know, she didn't need a BS, master's degree, doctor's degree. No, she did it all the way. Everybody has, they say they're a doctor, but as he said, they're not doing no healing. They're not healing nothing. They're a doctor, but they're not healing. So that is amazing also that she could go out and write all these books and, you know, talk about all the things that we've done. And she said she went to the library where we didn't have anything. We have a paragraph or 2 paragraphs in 10 book novels. But she said she went to the library where the lies are buried. Oh my goodness. Light bulb, bloop, bloop. You know, it's just amazing all the things that these people who are going through the depression, just out of slavery, no technology, no cell phones, no nothing, but they got their message across way better than we're doing today and communicated and got inspired through life. And that's what I think that if we could take anything from this, is get inspired ourselves. It inspired me, myself. I'm like, listen to it, Magnificent Women of Black History. Hey, I appreciate, I commend Dr. Chika Cool for doing this, but it gave me the inspiration. So I'm going to be doing this in the near future, picking out the women I think that, because that is important in history, as just like my mother brought me up, you know, her mother after that, grandmother and great grandmothers. These are magnificent women in my history, but we all, as a mother, you already are a great person. You already are beautiful. You have the intellect, the strength, and the power. As he said earlier, you know, we can't do anything unless the woman pretty much approves it. You know, or has the woman, you can't do anything, just men, we always have to have that woman. And I've always said that, you know, women, you have the power, you just relinquish it to someone. You have that power no matter what you do, you have it all. A man can't do anything unless you give him the power to do it. And, you know, now I like what Hosep said, that, you know, they see eye to eye, and I love that because, you know, you see the head, the tail. No, you know, it's always going to be something, but we have to come together, unite, and go ahead and make this happen as a unit, as unity, as they say, a village to raise a child and build our nation, Pan-Africanism. And once we do that, we stay with our people and we go ahead and expound on this together. It's just going to be a beautiful thing. So I think Niger, did you want to speak after that? I saw somebody. I wasn't sure if that was Niger or not.
I really always have something to say, but especially with regard to the women and a couple of other things that I want to just mention to everybody. There is so much out there, and you know, you can start down a path and you think you're on it alone, but if you have passion there, stay with it, stay with it, stay with it, because you will begin to find that you will draw and attract more of that to you. I've waited a long time for this kind of thing to happen. Even the technology part of it, which, you know, is an area I am still growing. But back in the day, when I was a little girl, you know, I look a little different from a lot of different people in my family, but I've got everyone in my family, close in my family, from the complexion of white skin like your t-shirt and black like the jacket I have on behind you. And all different kinds of hair types and eye colors and skin, even the thickness of the skin, all that kind of thing. I want to encourage everyone, because you've got a lot of young women on your team, and especially the young women, to get out there. Us elders as well, but especially the young women to get out there and explore, 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 especially in travel, especially in travel. I went to Europe and I went to Africa and I've been to Asia. I've been to a number of places in the world, but when you see these artifacts of us and you begin to learn more and more of the stories behind them, it empowers you in ways that you have no idea. so that you can withstand this, that, the next, and the other. Our people who were just out of slavery were still in touch with slaves, people who were enslaved, people who had come from the continent, people who had stories of people who had come from the continent. So though we had a miserable life in a lot of ways during those times, those stories that came down were what got us through. And so to pick up and go, now I'm saying go to Africa, go to Africa, go to Africa, go to Africa, go to Europe. You will find our artifacts all over the world. The Pope worships the Black Madonna and Child. I mean, there are so many pieces of information that we are clueless about that when you
Fading out. I guess we're losing you.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, when you begin to travel, you find more than you can imagine. And Kai and Dennis, and I don't know who else, but at least Kai and Dennis are doing a trip to the museum, African American Museum. And I don't know exactly when, but please ask him about that information. Let's all support them, get on that trip, go travel. I mean, that one's something local. They haven't talked about us needing to have a vaccine to go from state to state. At least that's not one of their plans that they've shared yet. However, going out of the country, you still want to go because the likelihood is they're going to do their best to lock that down more and more. So whatever you can do, wherever you can go, explore, ask questions, read, write, and keep it moving. And go back and do your own journey. Do your own story. Add all the women in your own story. Publish a book. Chika Kua, the guy who did this presentation, actually has his own thing going where he even helps you do that. However, if you enjoyed this, just think about all the stories you've had and the experiences you've had with amazing women. We should do the same thing for men, okay? But for women, we're talking about women today. So just start. Okay, I'm done at least for a minute.
All right, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You had a whole bunch of good. You're right. I always say, you don't have to be great to start. You just have to start to be great, and that is amazing. And thank you for bringing up that the trip to Washington D.C. I'm gonna let Kai talk about that because I'm not at home, so she might have the flyer or whatever else. She can just tell you what dates it is. It is in the summer of next year, and I'll let her go ahead and talk about that. But thank you very much. And the queens and the beautiful women I have behind me is Miss Claudette, Dorothy Bonner, Nadra, and Kai. You know, it's just, I just want to say, hey, I could have put up anybody, but I wanted to put up, somebody, a picture that I saw right there. It was a last minute thing, so I didn't go look through everything. I just saw that one and say, hey, that's women. So that's magnificent women that I know. So, I just threw that up there. So I want to thank you all for joining us and coming out and joining and sharing this information with me, seeing how, like Chika Kua has just inspired me to go ahead and do that as well. And you can go volume 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, whoever cares about, unlimited, because there is unlimited access to our people and our history from the past to the present until now. So Kai, do you have that information for the trip or anything?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes. Right. So, so the trip is going to be in July of 2021 from the 23rd to the 27th. It's going to be awesome. And people have options. So if you want to fly into New York, you could take the bus. We'll have a bus leaving from Kingston, New York. Or if you want to just meet us straight in DC, that's an option as well if you're not in the area. But, spread the word. It's going to be really nice. Kingston, New York isn't that far from New York City if people want to drive or take the Port Authority bus or the train up here. But it is going to include breakfast and dinner. It's going to include lodging, a tour. It's going to be like so many different things that we're going to see. We're going to have a lot of different spots that we're going to see on the tour, but the highlights are the African American Museum as well as the Bible Museum. So, you know, but it's not just for church folk. It's something to just bring us all together going to the Capitol. One of the things that a lot of people don't know is that Kingston was the first capital. So, so there's a lot of rich history in Kingston, New York, and yeah, so it's going to be, you know, amazing. It's really going to be nice. So I hope, you know, as many people that's on this forum can make it, and people who are seeing it after it's filmed and who are watching, you could reach out to us. I'm sure Dennis will have some type of way that you could contact him.
All right. Thank you very much. And we talked about earlier how Queen T, you know, we didn't get into that, but, you know, she said that the eye level and everything else. But we were talking about, she also said, you know, how they lied about our history and how she was the first archaeologist. She did the stars, the first calendar. A lot of people think the Mayans were the first calendar. No, we were doing this way before that. We had the technology. She studied the stars and all of that. And just look at how we look at now the astronauts. We had the movie Hidden Figures. We didn't even know about the woman who got us into space. But this is what I'm talking about. Even the astronaut that Dr. Mae Jemison, you know, still all of that is because our ancestry and how brilliant of a people that we are. It just goes on and on. It's generation after generation. We're born with this. It's given. It's a gift that we've been given from birth, from God, whatever the case may be. We have this. All we have to do is go inside and find our joy and go ahead and put that out into the universe and let it be seen. And just like Bessie Coleman, you know, her story is phenomenal. The first pilot, female pilot, who, you know, I look at the Chicago connection there, and went out there and learned how to fly, didn't know how to speak French, took herself, financed herself to go to France. How many people would do that now? We think 20 minutes is too far away, but she went to France, learned how to speak French, learned how to fly, came back on her own dime, on her own. Oh, innovators, I love us, you know, entrepreneurship. I always preach that, entrepreneur. We have to have our own. Went over there, came back, flew back to the United States, did some tricks, and then had to go back again, but, you know, got injured in one show, and she got up again and went ahead and still continued to fly on no matter what the injury was. That's a passion that happens with her, and she was just so phenomenal. If you ever look up her story, Bessie Coleman, go ahead and take a look at it. It is amazing. So I'm gonna go ahead over here. I see LaShawn, you wanna say anything? I'm just gonna go through people. LaShawn, you have anything else you wanna add to that?
No, I don't. Go ahead.
What about you, Sherry? You've been kind of quiet over there. Sherry.
Hi, how are you? Yeah, I was being quiet. I was out and about, but I wanted to make sure that I checked in, and thank you so much for sharing, and ditto to everyone. Nadra, I love you. And this is just an amazing group of people, and I really appreciate every week what you share. So have a great one. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much out of New York. I really appreciate you joining in. And let's see, who else out there? Clifton.
Nadra.
Oh, Nadra. Okay. Okay, go ahead, Nadra.
Thank you. I was just thinking that maybe Kai could put up the flyer and put it in, either hold it up like so that we could take a picture of it, or put it in the chat room or something so people can get that information and start working on that. I think that's real important because I'm sure there are going to be Black women there.
Oh,
All right, I'm done. Hi, Clifton, go.
Okay, I'll get that out to you also. We have a page out there on Facebook. I can send that out to you guys, and you can pass it on to all your friends as well. But and that way we're going to get that information out. It is July, I think it's 23rd to 27th, I think Kai said. And it's 5 days, 4 nights. All hotels are taken care of, all the food, all the tours, going to the Smithsonian Institute, the New Bible Museum, also the African American Museum, and we'll be doing tours all throughout Washington, D.C. as well. If you've ever been there, you know parking is crazy, so you don't even have to worry about that. And if you guys want to, whatever you like to do, hey, we're going to make sure we're going to have a great time. I just wanted to do this because when I went there and I experienced it all. I said, listen, one day, I didn't know when, but one day I was going to bring a group of people, and hopefully I can make it annually or every other year or something like that, because it is something that we all need to see, because it's 6 layers. I mean, it's just so much information from history from before Africa all the way up until now, and it's just our whole journey as a Black people, African-American people, whatever the case may be. We have all of that right there. You want to say something there, Kai? I see you're unmuted.
Oh, no, I just want to, well, you covered everything, but I just want to say that for me, I think it's important to come together for something that's positive. So, a lot of time, and we all know the things that have been happening in this country to Black people. So I don't need to remind that, but people get in the streets and they, we get distracted by, all of the chaos. But then, we could also build on a positive level before it gets there. So, I think that that sometimes when we put certain things in the atmosphere, that it does have effect. So I just think that it's really important that we all come together in unity for something positive and not just wait to come together when something bad happens. And it's almost like, a lot of families, I know for me particularly, I've been communicating with my family more, because a lot of us, like, we grew up together, but now I have a grandchild and my children are grown, but a lot of the cousins don't know each other. But then when someone passes away, then we get together. So I think that it's important to, to come together on a positive accord, just because we want to build and be positive, not, Dennis, I'm going to borrow your line. What is it that you say? Be proactive instead of reactive. So, so that I just wanted to put that out there. Thank you.
Right.
Back to you.
Thank you very much. I saw LaShawn's hand raised, so we'll go over to LaShawn out of Chicago. She had her hand raised. Can you speak now?
Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay, so what I was going to say was, you're going to put that information into the Facebook. You're talking about Get It Done?
Yeah, I can put it and get it done. I can send it to you. I see everybody here, so I can send it all to you all personally.
Oh, that's fine. You can, however you're going to send it. When you said Facebook, I just wanted to make sure that we were talking about the same one. Okay, thank you. Back to you, Dennis.
Oh, no problem, no problem. I just love the magnificent women of the Black history, because, as I said, I was raised with a mother. It's nothing better than that. All the information, all the love, the nurturing, the information, the direction, even the misdirection. I should call it. I mean, she had a long arm of the law. So I won't go into that, but it was just her guidance, and my grandmother, and my great grandmother. It was just amazing to see these powerful women. So when I came out into the world and got out there, I saw powerful women. So you go out there and then you see kind of sometimes people are not the same. So we still have to uplift the people who are not on that level and let them know, hey, you are beautiful, you are a queen, you still have value, and you have to value yourselves, and they do value themselves. And the more we talk about this, the more we put this information out, I think it builds the self-esteem for our people as well. Even if you don't want to talk about it, I hear it coming from people who are saying, I like this, it's great. And just like Ida B. Wells, who was a teacher at 16. She didn't have to wait for anybody to appoint her. She went in anointed and appointed herself to go out there and do these great things, and spoke up and got up and was fired for speaking up in her business. And that happens to us a lot. If you speak up for the people, 9 times they want to get rid of you. But not only did she had the innovativeness to go ahead and start her own business and become an entrepreneur. Now wrote a newspaper where she was going to tell the truth no matter what. And that's what we have to do. We have to go out there and get this information out, be the pioneers just as they were. It's just draw that line in the sand and let's go out there and tell the truth and, speak up, because, she talked about when the 3 Black men who had a grocery store, who not only did they have a grocery store, but they were out producing and out making more money than the white stores were making. And, of course, they didn't want us, they say they want us to pick ourselves by our bootstraps. But if you start looking at history, every time we start to do something, they want to tear you down. But that doesn't mean that we stop, because we still go on. No matter what we've been through, we are still the best of the best. We've been through chattel slavery. We're still here. We're still the best of the best. No matter what we're seeing out there as far as the shooting, the pandemic, whatever they put out there the lies or the truth, whatever they may be, we still keep coming. We still keep going forward. We still are the champions. We still are the creators of everything. Even if we didn't get the information or get the credit back then, we still know in our mind and in our heart, it came from us, and we're able to uplift our race, our people. And I say race a lot because maybe we need to go back. It's not a maybe. We need to go back to where it began to show the rest of the world, to get us back into balance, because we were centered. We had that synergy. Then we got decentered. Now we have to be back recentered, and we are the ones that can do this. You see what's going on out there when we let them take the lead? Or what they had a lot of years to do this, and it's just getting worse and worse and worse. But we've ran the world for years, 3.2 million years to be exact. We've always had that knowledge in how to, like Mother Earth, we cared for one another, and we still care for. We have that big heart, and that's how they took advantage of us. Now we have learned from our mistakes. Now we have to go forward and be more accomplished and well aware, and we don't have to be feared, because I don't believe in fear. False evidence appearing real is not there. We go out there and make this happen on one accord, go into cooperation, educate each other, love, lock hands with one another, and build from our foundation, and have a strong foundation to go up and uplift and build a community together. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I see Nadra's hand up. So go ahead, Nadra. I see your hand up. Okay. Nadra? Maybe she went somewhere where she can't speak. But anyway, I was just saying, I see your hand up. So whenever you want to chime in, let us know. So basically, we have to stick together and band together. No matter what adversity comes to us, we are very powerful, and they know it. They wouldn't try to do this if they didn't believe we were powerful. They all say, like what was it? Drusilla Dungy Houston said, it's a conspiracy to keep the information away from us. And that is, they've been doing that for years, divide and conquer, and that's what they try to do to us. And when I say that, I mean the dominant society, quote unquote, right now, the media, all these things. But we will definitely come together and outlast, which we've been here for years, way before they came. We taught them what they know. We built the air conditioning. We had all these systems, irrigation, agriculture. We are the ones that did this, and we continue to do this, and we will continue to prosper at whatever we want to do. All right, Nadra, I saw your hand up. Can you speak now? I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna pass on. Shuna, are you there? Shuna.
Trying to raise my hand.
Oh, okay. Well, go ahead. I'm trying to go down when sometimes we don't see it, but I see you there.
I wanted to speak on this kind of there I am. Okay.
There you go.
I wanted to touch on what you just said about how they try to say that, we didn't have this and we didn't have that, and how portray us as dumb people and not being capable of doing things. This morning on my presentation, I was talking about ancient artifacts that they found they said way before Columbus, even before Christ Jesus, and it was little artifacts they found of aircraft, two different kind of aircraft, and one on two different parts of the world, and then they made, one of them was about 12 inches, and the other one was a very small, like no bigger than the palm of your hand. And so they made these bigger replicas of these aircraft just to make sure it would fly for real, and they actually flew. So it's just showing how we before they even thought about technology. And what came to my mind was how much effort is put into making us forget things, and why they want to put so much effort into making us forget things, and how we have to take the time to learn about who we are, and such as how we're watching this movie of these excellent women and the things that they did long time ago. And even when these women were doing these things, they were still saying that we weren't capable of doing things. But yet you got these women showing, oh yes, we are, And so that's what I got out of it, and that's it.
All right, I like your outfit, looking great with all of the black and white you got on there. But I like what you're saying. You said you did something. You did something today. Can you elaborate on what you do, or let them know what time or you did, or whatever you just said about that?
I do a Sunday tea talk. We were doing a study of the Meta Nature, and the reason I backed up is because people couldn't quite get it, and they couldn't. Well, I needed to go back into the history to show like who we are, so that when I go back to the Meta Nature, the mindset could be different, and people could accept it better once they see, oh, okay, this is who we really are, and this is what we really need to be doing. So I had to back it up. So this morning, it was just about not being afraid to look closely. You know, a lot of times we just overlook stuff, we let it go because society said it's this way. You know, we saw it on the media. Oh, it was on the news. I saw it on the news. So, so it's gotta be right because I saw it on the news, you know. So, and just letting people know that everything you see on the news is not real.
You didn't find her yet? You didn't find her?
So,
Oh.
but that's one of the things we do, the Sunday tea, and then Finance Friday. Yeah, so, and ORS, we're getting ORS off the ground, and ORS is our resource for Black businesses to really recycle our Black dollars, keep our money within the Black community. And I'm upgrading ORS, I'm putting it on a different platform so that it's easier for people to work with, because that's what I was hearing. Oh, it's too hard, I can't log in, I can't do this, I can't do that. So I'm changing the platform to make it more easier. So hopefully this week, that'll be ready. All right.
All right. Thank you very much. And you know, like I said, we have to support each other when she's doing something. Support her. See what she has to. Like she said, she had to back up to let people know about themselves. And that's one thing we don't have is the knowledge of self. We go out there and we can do it, but we can collaborate with one another to find out more information about ourselves. So now we can go out and prosper and be able to be confident when we speak, because a lot of times people, as I travel, they do have a lack of confidence. I'm not going to sit here and say they don't, but we still, it's just a matter of being exposed to different information, different education, different books that you read, expanding your mind by picking up something and learning something. As long as you're learning something, I always say you can learn from a kindergartner, you can learn from a newborn, you can learn from a caterpillar or the mantis, whatever the case may be. God has given us everything all throughout the whole universe that we can learn from. Trees, anything that you look at the zebras, the fighting styles. You go to Japan and say you can't be a samurai unless you have at least one drop of Black blood in you. So it's a lot of things out here that we don't know, which we need to do ourselves. As who was it, Drusilla Dungy Houston? Educate yourself. Educate yourself. You know, don't worry about where it comes from. As Dr. Chika Kaur says, you have a PhD, a MS, MD, whatever the case may be, but as long as you have the knowledge of self and know where you came from and know your history, now you can go out and put more things out into the world that people will follow you because you have the knowledge and you've done the research, such as Malcolm X, one of my greatest heroes, Marcus Garvey, Marcus Mosiah, Booker T. Washington. We can go out all through others, but it's saying about the men, talking about the women, Madam C.J. Walker, Bessie Coleman, you know, Queen Nani, that's another person who went out there and did things. Queen Nzinga, you know, these people are ladies out there that went out and took charge. I mean, Nzinga, hey, she formed an army and fought off the Europeans and fought them out of it. They didn't get conquered. This is a warrior princess. I forgot what the Dohominy, I'll get into that. The women who they call the Amazons, you know, the French came over there and tried to attack. I'll get into this another time. Let me get off. I'm gonna stay on this guy because I've got magnificent women in Black history. Boy, I got some stuff coming up in my head. I just don't want to put everything out because I'm going above that. I just want to go and stay on this part right here, first of all. Let's see who I didn't get. Janie, you're out there. Can you speak, Janie? I don't know if she can speak.
I can, Dennis.
All right. Where did you get out of?
I'm doing homework at the same time, so I'm in and out. And I came on the video kind of late, but I do appreciate you sharing. And then all the ladies' comments, and that's a beautiful picture in back of you. I like that picture. it's knowledge is power. And they used to say that a long time ago, but I ignored it. So it was a lot of stuff I missed. So I'm learning. So this is a great tool to learn from. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Janie. We appreciate you coming in. I love Janie's story. You know, she is always willing to advance herself, you know, coming from where she came to where she is and where she's going to be. I love it. I just like watching her life, period. So thank you, Janie, for joining us. Also out there is Clifton Sutton. Are you there, Clifton? I don't know if Clifton can unmute himself. All right, all right. Now I'm gonna go over here to Clifton. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can. How about Stubblefields? I don't know if it's
I'm here, Dennis.
okay. All right, go back to you, Clifton. What did you get out of that? Did you see it?
I got on a little bit late, but I was just taking notes from those that did speak, and you know, just wanted to share, you know, that I was raised by some queens myself, you know, that actually took charge. I was raised by my mother, my grandmother, and my aunt, you know, from the time I was walking up until, you know, I left the house. So definitely had, you know, 3 amazing queens that became kings of the house, you know, and they actually ruled like kings. I mean, you know, it was like, you know, it was stern, you know, upbringing. You know, they had to step into those roles, you know, and I definitely got, you know, both sides of it. You know, I got the male side of it in a female sense, and also the male side, you know, they say, hey, even though I'm not a man, I'll treat you like, you know, I'm gonna raise you like, you know, they kind of raised me stern, you know, in other words. So definitely had that great upbringing. And, you know, they kind of, you know, just was there for me. So that's what I kind of got from that. You know, I'm sorry I got on a little bit late, but I did get some amazing stories from the people that did share.
All right, thank you very much. Hey, they say spare the rod, spoil the child. You know, we had to be stern. We had to be the leaders of our community. And with that said, I'm gonna go out to Mark. Are you there, Mark?
Sir, Dennis, I am here in Chicago.
All right, Mark, go ahead. Let's see what you liked about this and what you have to, your input.
Well, you know, it started out hot and it stayed hot because I want to go back to the queens that he talked about or / king in one instance. And then he did this chronological thing where he got it up to where we started to talk about Mae Jemison all the way from Ida B. Wells and what was that? Ida B. Wells, and Fannie Lou Hamer. But this is where I hang my hat at on the whole Fannie Lou Hamer speech of 1964. Now here she is, a person who, and then when he said it, I immediately Googled it. I Googled the speech, and if I could just read a little bit of it, can I take a little time to do that?
Yes, sir.
So after she was introduced, this is Fannie Lou Hamer starting out the speech. She says, "Mr. Chairman, and the credentials of the committee. My name is Mrs. Fannie Lou Hamer, and I live at 626 East Lafayette Street in Ruleville, Mississippi, the Sunflower County, the home of the Senator James O. Eastland and the Senator Stennis. It was the 31st of August in 1962 that 18 of us traveled 26 miles to the country courthouse in Indianola, Mississippi, and we tried to register to become the first citizens to vote. So when we got to Indianola, Mississippi, the highway patrolman stopped us and allowed 2 of us to take the literacy test at that time. Now, this is old Jim Crow stuff they're talking about. And after we had taken this test, they started back to Rouville. And we was held up by the city police and the state highway patrolman and carried back to Indianola, where the bus driver was charged that day with driving a bus with the wrong color on it. So after we paid our fine, and among us, we continued on to Rouville. And Reverend Jeff Sonny carried me for 4 miles in the rural area where I'd worked and was a timekeeper and a sharecropper for 18 years. I was met there by my children who told me that plantation owner was angry because I had gone down to try to register to vote. And they told me and my husband, who came with me, and said that plantation owner was raising a whole lot of cane. And because I tried to register, before he quit talking about the plantation owner, he came and said, "Fannie Lou, you know that Paul gonna tell you something." And I said, "Yes, sir." And he said to me, "What does that mean?" He said, "Well, if you don't go down and withdraw your registration, you're gonna have to leave. And then he said, if you're going down to withdraw, and he said, you still might have to go, even if you do leave Mississippi. And then I addressed him and I said, well, I didn't go down there to register for you. I went down there and registered for myself. And then she packed her bags and left. So here's the interesting thing. We're here in 2020 and we're in a critical election right now. We see a president that has no regards for human life, not only the human life that I'm talking about people of color's life. Here we see a woman almost 56 years ago go back and put her life on the line for the passion that she had for her ability to be able to go vote. She went to learn how to be a voter's register. Not only did she learn to be a voter's register, she became a person who went out there and registered others to vote, even to the risk or the chagrin of Jim Crow South, that she ran the risk of they were going to kill her. Because later on in this same speech, you see where now she's left and now she's at a place where now somebody's shot at least 18 bullets into the house with the intent to kill her. What I'm saying essentially, and I'll be short and get to the close, is that it's so important that when men don't stand up, our women will always stand up. We got to follow you all's lead on this, sisters. And as we see women stand up that's willing to take a bullet for their family and for their communities, this is what we have to do as a collective tribe. And that's my end. Back to you, Dennis.
All right, you are so correct. You know, we have to get out there and vote. You know, people, as we said, the man number 45 might not be in there today if we all did what we were supposed to do back then. So you are totally correct. It's very imperative that you go out and at least, you know, put your vote in. Go do what you have to do. Make a difference. You know, they want you to not make that difference. As we see, I looked at the news today. They're talking about the mail and everything else. It's going to be fraud. They can't get through the mail. 7.7 million votes. They don't know where they went. You know, it's crazy. But we still have to do your part. You know, that's all you can do. Do what you're supposed to do, and don't worry about what everybody else is doing on that part, because you don't have any control of that. You always say, don't worry about what others do. Worry about what you can do. And when you do what you're supposed to do, others will also follow what you do, and that way we can go ahead and prosper and build our own nation within a nation. And that's what we should be doing, and that's what we are doing. And I love the grocery store thing that they talked about, how they did that, and Fannie Lou Hamer and also Mary McLeod Bethune. Oh my goodness, just standing up to the KKK. You know, to say, hey, y'all can do what you want to. You burn it down, don't build it again. In other words, we're not going anywhere, no matter, if you look at history, how much they try to suppress us and oppress us by the oppressors, we still rise. As Angela Mayi said, I still rise, I rise. And that's what we're doing for the rest of our lives. We will continue to rise. We will not sit down. We will not turn the other cheek and get slapped again. We are now drawing that line in the sand. It's been time. It's been a long time coming. We are the sleeping giant. We can be the lender and not the borrower. We should live in abundance. We should have our own businesses. We should go and do the Pan-Africanism and connect all over the world and do what we are supposed to do and make the world a better place. As I always say, that's why I say you, me, and we can change and transform the world. Teamwork makes the dream work. And if we go ahead and do this together and make this happen, we'll never forget where you come from, never forget who you are. And that's amazing. Okay, Mark, you got your hand raised again? I'll go ahead, no problem.
Yeah, because I think, Dennis, you just made a point that I was getting ready to make again. And I said, nah, I'm going a little long. But the point of, and I thought about this was in the 1920s and 1930s. Here we have a group of people, whether what philosophy you subscribe to back in 1964, 65, whether you went with King's philosophy of peaceful protest and peaceful rallying, or you went with Malcolm's by any means necessary. But when you look back at 1926, you notice that the only way they were going to get rid of you is they had to kill you, even though you were armed. So this was war in a sense of. So I was watching this movie that was created about this army regiment in Houston during the riots of 1917, and they weren't going to be allowed to fight. So what ended up happening was, in this particular movie, and this is based on a true story, the rioting was happening across most of the Midwest, believe it or not, versus the South. But since this military installation for colored troops was in the South, they were under Jim Crow. So they felt like, okay, well, we're preparing to go fight and wage a war in World War I, and we still don't have the rights to stand. And with that being said, now you are trying to protect not only your community, but you're trying to protect the lifestyle which we want to have, because now we are being allowed to do such and such in terms of serving. Now they have taken these people and they've done what they do in the Jim Crow South. They start executing them on the street, just cold-blooded, like what we're seeing now. And it's interesting that it's happening more so now than it seemed like it happened back then. But I think it seems that way simply because it's more open and we can video record all of this stuff, and they got cameras all on the posts and things like that everywhere. So we're seeing it more. But the point I'm making is this: women have always stood up and always carried the torch further after one of us has fallen. So like I said, I always want to commend women for just standing up and picking up the torch when we've taken down or taken out. And that's it. Back to you, Dennis.
Oh, yes, sir. You are totally correct. I always say that. I see it all the time, and they are at the forefront. We can go back to Angela Davis. We can go back to the Black Panther Party when they started doing stuff. The women were the backbone. You saw the men out there, but the women were the ones who ran it. You know, they really kept it together. And you can look back at even when I talked about Marcus Garvey, with Amy Garvey, who the man came up to the office and wanted to shot 6-7 bullets at him, and she wrestled him down. The woman did this, got him to the ground, took the gun out of his hand. The woman did this. Understand what I'm saying here. So they are our warriors. They are our kings as well as queens. As you see, they can do whatever they want. They have so much inside of them that, you know, they have to get it. And nowadays they have to get it back and see what they have. Their beautiful insides as well as outside. And men have to respect that as well. And not only that, like you said, Mark, going back to 1917, that's why I say we have to understand our history, understand our past, so we won't keep making the same mistakes over and over and over and over and over again. You look at it, same things happen now, what's happening back then. But if we were aware and we did our studying and how can I say, we did our investigation or our knowledge and try to understand what happened in history, we won't make the same mistakes in the future or the present. That's what, so when I hear people say, oh, that happened back then, we don't have to know nothing. No, it's always repeating itself. You look at fashion, bell bottom, whatever the case may be, hot pants, they come back in style. Everything always comes back. So if you know what happened then, you can also, like I said, be proactive rather than reactive. And when we do that, we can make a big impact. And I see this is a movement. This is something, not just talking right here. We are in the process of making this movement happen. If you look around, we are collaborating. We have to buy more land. We have to put our monies together. We have to build more schools. This is just not about talking right here. This is about doing. Go out and do something. Go out and talk to somebody and then make it happen. Don't just go ahead and say, okay, we did this and we talked about it and let it sit by the side. Whatever you're learning here, use it to make something happen, not only in your life, but in someone else's life. Go out and next week, bring somebody else here with you. You know, I'm trying to do, you know, I should say I'm sending out texts, but I have to do better. I have to get better with the marketing, how we can get more people to be aware and enlighten their minds, because we all understand. I think we're all on the same page, but now we have to broaden that horizon to get more people here, get more people so they can learn, so they can see, because a lot of people don't know. And the more we do, the more we collaborate with each other, the more we invest our interest in one another, now we can go out and build our own grocery store, have our own sporting store, write our own books as we're doing, and we can go ahead and make it bigger much faster. Let's go out and make this weekend. Go out this week and talk to somebody. Invite them to the next one next week, which I don't know what I'm putting out there, but I will let you know later on this week. But every time I do something, I want to have something enlightening for our people, give us uplifting. We may not know something. Some of you may know something, or you've seen it before. It also reiterates, and repetition is the key to all learning. Go ahead, go out there this weekend. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Inspire somebody. Be a mentor. Show them something that they don't know. Grab a young person and let them see, hey, you can do this too. Grab an older person and let them see this is what happened. You may have not known about the Shepson. You may have not known about Queen T. You may not have known about Fannie Lou Hamer. Let's go tell them about Drusilla Dundee Houston. Let's tell them about the astronauts. Let's tell them how great of a people we are. Pass it on. It's just information. Information is great. Now, what you do with the information, I always say actions speak louder than words. So we go out there and we pass this on to our people, and even people that aren't our people, because they need to know too. Because sometimes they don't respect you because they don't understand the plight that we've been through. But first of all, we have to get knowledge of self. Start with us. Start with our foundation, like we're starting here, and branch out. Build that tree. Like Marcus Garvey said, a tree without roots, hey, you don't have anything. So we have our roots planted here, our foundation. Now let's go out and branch those branches, grow out, let them grow, and let them grow. And each one teach one. It takes a village to raise a child, and then we can build our nation. So thank you all very much. I really appreciate it. Did you have your hand up again, Mark, or was that just from last time? So let's go out here and have a great time. I really appreciate everyone for joining us at this time. And go out there, each one teach one, make an impression, be the impression, be that lighthouse out there that guides our ships to where they need to be going. So thank you all very much. And I'll see you guys next week, same bad time, same bad channel. And I'll figure out what I'm going to do, because I got a whole bunch of material that I want to pass out and show you. And as I said, you'll see me stepping up as well, because when I'm doing this, it also inspires myself. There you go. I planted a tree for 20 years ago. Okay, the second time is no. All right, okay. Got you, Mark. Got you. So I'm going to go ahead and do this again. I mean, I'm going to make my own magnificent women in Black history, and we're going to keep on striving and keep on going for excellence, because that's what we are. I always say good, better, best. Never let it rest until your good is better. Then your better best is best. And we are the best. We are the champions, and we are winners every day. So bye-bye. Thank you, guys. Have a great weekend.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All righty.
Take care.
Okay.